Hey, welcome back to the VET S.O.S podcast, which is presenting, I should say, Operation Startup for us entrepreneurs. Hey, so remember, our motto here is don't drown in the sea of transition, grab the VET S.O.S lifeline. Hey, today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Brent Bowers, an investor and coach with focusing on buying and selling vacant land. As an Army officer with over 8 years of service, Brent was spending a great deal of time away from his family. He knew he needed to make some changes in order to be more present with his wife and children. In a short period of time, Brent was able to expand his business, hire a team, and one of the most important things, spend quality time with his family while still working hard and helping others. While Brent invests in many different types of real estate, his favorite investment strategy deals with buying and selling vacant land, and he enjoys sharing his expertise in the area with his coaching clients. Brent chooses to live his life based on Bob Berg's quote, "Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first." He is passionate about helping other people find success in real estate investing, particularly in land investments. Dan, you're doing a great thing, man. Doing God's work, brother. How you doing today, Brent?
Oh, Maurice, I'm really good, man. I'm really good. Appreciate that. You make me sound awesome on that. No, I am just doing land deals, doing land deals, placing manufactured homes on land. Just got done talking with one of my couple lenders today for some of my projects, updating them. Yeah, it's been a busy Monday, but that's what it's all about. So we're building it up. We're making a lot of we're making a lot of active income and putting it into rentals. So one day these rentals all pay for themselves with other people's money, with other people's rents.
Yep.
And that's where we retire. In 12 years, a lot of this stuff is going to be paid for free and clear. So I don't know if I'll have to work as much. And
Yeah.
then eventually one day the kids will graduate, and I guess I'll probably pay for college. Actually, I was going to say maybe, but, anyhow, I don't know. College might not even be around in 10 years, we'll see. So
Might not. Might not. But let's go ahead and hop into the interview, man. So Army officer, you did your time in, probably did a few tours. So looking back on your time in and making that transition from Army officer, structured military life, 0600 reveille time to going into a civilian life, talk us through those lessons you learned and how they shape you, who you are today.
yeah, I'll tell you what, I had a great time in the military. Boy, I've been out since 2018 now, so 8 years. I'm really starting to finally, I think, act like a civilian. Now I just sleep until I wake up in the morning, which is like
Uh-huh.
6 AM. I
Okay.
automatically wake up. I used to still set that alarm for 4 AM up until about 2 years ago. Then it kinda changed to 5 AM. Now I work out in kind of the later morning hours,
Okay.
rather than, like, before the sun comes up. So little things like that. But, it's just military was very structured. Entrepreneurship, there's nothing structured about it.
Hmm.
It's you can honestly work yourself to death as an entrepreneur. So you gotta have some structure, some boundaries, some left, right limits too, to keep
Absolutely.
you sane. So I've had to do that, with, like, setting boundaries with my schedule, from 10 to 3 is kind of my power hours. I might take a 10-minute lunch, but it's not like, in the military where it's like we take a lunch sometimes, we'd be on the range, maybe take a little nap if possible. Like, no, not when you're an entrepreneur. It's like go time all the
Yes.
time.
Yes. Absolutely. Definitely know exactly what you're talking about. Hour lunch will turn into 2 hours, and yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So now you transition out. Take me back to that point and in your life where the entrepreneur bug sparked for you. Like, what was going on at the time, and what decided to make you to build your own business rather than, I mean, we as military officers can easily go the safe route and go to a GS or go into some type of high corporate job. Why not take that safe route? Why go
Well,
the
maybe if my
entrepreneur route?
entrepreneur maybe if my businesses don't work out, maybe I can fall back on that. No, I'm
Gotcha.
I've always had the entrepreneur spirit. even as a kid. When I
Mhm,
was in middle school, I started a lawn service. And when I wasn't mowing grass during the wintertime, I'd pressure wash houses and paint houses. And I always liked, making money. And then I got into real estate in 2007. And then, the market kind of did what it did in 2008, 2009. We've all heard about it. So I
mhm,
was like, man, maybe I'll go get a real job for a while. So I joined the military so I can go to college and went to college, got the degree. I was actually enlisted for actually 5 years. I was only an officer for just right at 3 years.
okay,
So I was enlisted longer. Did a couple deployments to Afghanistan. Got up to E5 sergeant. Really enjoyed that.
mhm.
Army officer kind of sucked. Actually, I had a lot of responsibility. I worked a lot more, and I didn't notice much of a difference in my paycheck, honestly.
Wow. Got you. So now that you're in the thick of things, kinda tell the audience what's been the most rewarding part about being an entrepreneur?
Oh
What's
yeah,
that thing that makes you what light you up every day?
I mean, I'm building my own equity. I'm building my own business. I have people that work for me that do things for me. So sales are happening. Things are moving. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, sometimes when I'm on vacation, it allows me to go on more vacations. Like I don't have to ask a boss to take a week off.
Mhm,
I just took a week off with the kids on spring break. I never got spring breaks and summer vacations off when I had my army job or even my job before that because I worked for a couple other people in between businesses, but, I don't have to ask permission from anybody.
yeah.
It's best not to go on vacation when, like, your office manager's on vacation, but that's happened too, where you kinda close down the whole shop. But it's also on the other hand, it's like, I can't leave work at work. Sometimes things still need an answer from me, sometimes things need signed. But
Uh-huh.
in the military, what I miss about that is there was always so many redundancies. They could replace me in a New York second.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And they do. I mean, things still go on. So now we know as an entrepreneur, both entrepreneurs ourselves, we know it's not always the best, especially when you're getting the ground, you're getting things started. What's been the most frustrating part for you, and how'd you overcome those things to deal with it?
Well, as a beginning entrepreneur, the most frustrating part was, when's the money going to come? Well, the money eventually comes. And now the most frustrating part that the money's come, it's the taxes and the books and making sure accounting is correct. Because if you don't understand that, if you don't have any knowledge of that and you just rely on bookkeepers and accountants, like to do your tax returns, like things can get messed up in a rather quick hurry. So that's probably the most frustrating thing I'm going on right now with my business
Yeah.
currently. But in the beginning, anybody just starting out, it was just, spending a profit. You could spend a lot of money on a business and maybe not even make money for 5 years and then eventually go out of business.
Mhm.
But then there's another problem. You're always climbing a mountain in entrepreneurship. And you better be, when your feet hit the floor in the morning, you better be ready to solve some problems and challenges because that's why we make the money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now kind of talk to the audience about, okay, so you get out, once you're out, you talked about getting money, and money seems to be a lot of safe nets for a lot of people who don't start in entrepreneurship. How was that time span before you got out? Because after you get out, they don't get no more checks after that till the
Yeah,
time
that's
you get
true.
you talk to us about that.
So about time I commissioned as an Army officer, I also had a baby. We had our first baby.
Mhm.
And I went
Wow.
from gung ho, I'm going to do 20 years in the military to, oh my God, I got 3 years left on my contract. I'm out. Like
Yeah.
I'm never home. There's a newborn at home. My wife needs help. Then there's a second baby on the way. My wife needs more help. So I gave myself about a 3-year runway to really lock in and stay serious. That's why I was getting up at 4 a.m. every morning. I had to be on base at PT by 6 a.m. So you better believe that 2 hours was my power hour back then.
Yeah.
I got deals done. I got emails sent out. I got my offer letters sent out. I got my marketing done in my business to where I could have enough passive income. Like that means money coming in. Anybody's wondering what the heck's passive income? It means money coming in, whether you're on vacation or at your W 2 job or you're dead, basically. wanted to have I wanted to replace my $4,000 a month salary, but I wanted to double that. I wanted at least $8,000 a month coming in net before I left the military. So it took maybe about 18 months, and I built it up to $12,000 a month. That was coming in net every month. That was 3 times what I was making with my Army salary. So I wasn't touching any of that business money. I was just reinvesting it back into more land, more financing. So at one time, we built up to $44,000 a month in payments coming in just from vacant land that we sold. Um, I hustled like crazy, I'll tell you what, like, I didn't look at the what time it was on the clock. I would get up at 4 AM, and then I'd work through my lunch break in the Army, and then I'd come home and, hopefully my son wasn't in bed already, say goodnight to my wife, and then go back to work that evening. So for a while there, I kinda got 5, 6 hours of sleep each night, but it was a grind, and now I'm like 8 hours minimum, like, now that I hit 40, I really focus on taking care of my body, because thank God I had that 3-year runway.
Yeah,
I was still nervous as heck though. When I got out, I was so nervous because I was like, "Oh my God, my house is gonna go in foreclosure. I got 2 kids, I got 1 on the way." So I was still nervous even though I was making $12,000 a month net profit.
yeah,
What I thought about that land is like, well, what if someone stops paying? Or what about when they pay me off in a couple years? I got to keep doing this. So I
yeah.
used that scarcity to build up 44 grand a month. I didn't need that much money. And you know what happens when you're making that much money? You start to really spend it.
Got you, got you. So so it sounds like, and I wanna get make sure we land the plane on this point here. You basically gave yourself a 3-year plan to say, "Okay, hey, either I'm gonna make it or I'm not an entrepreneur," right before you got out of the military, so you kinda knew getting out whether it's gonna be a success or it's gonna be a bust once you got out. Because if you hadn't done everything you need to do in those past 3 years, you already knew what's gonna happen once you got out. Is that a true statement?
100%. Yeah, I didn't want a gun against my head when I got out because I see too many people get out and they don't have their plan in place. Like I didn't
Mhm.
want a plan. I wanted that thing fully operating. I had employees before I got out of the military.
Wow, that's what I'm talking about. So now did you tap into any programs, anything with the military offering to boost the business, anything like that
Yeah,
before you got out?
yeah. So I did a internship program. I think now they call it Skill
Skill
Bridge.
Bridge.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Skill
Mhm.
Bridge, which we offer it with the land sharks as well. Um, so we've had a lot of people, most of the Army and Air Force. I think we had a Marine too. They get accepted for the Skill Bridge, and they get to take. I think it's anywhere from I think it's right around 3 months they get to
Mhm.
intern, but still get their military salary,
Yes.
and I did the same thing, you know, that 3 months was the 1st month, I was a loose cannon, I was about to lose my mind, I had all this anxiety, my wife was ready to kill me, uh, to the 2nd month, I was like, "Okay, I got this." The 3rd month, you know, I had a $55,000 net profit month, and then I got out, like, the following day, and I remember just like, "Thank you, God. This was the right decision." Like, I didn't make $55,000 in a whole entire year. I just made it on 1 land deal in Colorado
Yeah,
Springs, Colorado.
absolutely. Man, that's a blessing right there.
Yeah, sure was.
Absolutely. So tell us about your business. What exactly it is you do? I know we talked about land deals. Tell us the people more specifics of what exactly it is you do.
Yeah, so in 2015, I started buying, like, vacant raw land, unimproved land, and I would p buy them from people that were about to lose them in taxes, so a lot of it was garbage land. Not accessible, landlocked, not buildable, and I would buy it for like a couple hundred and sell it for 5,000. And then I started getting more and more expensive land, and then I started selling a lot of land to builders, and some of the best land deals I ever made money on, like that $55,000 one, some even more expensive land where I've literally done 9 like the highest profit or it was like a assignment fee actually. I made $97,000 on one land deal. Now I did split that with a partner. He brought me the deal, but we found the buyer by sending a neighbor letter. So it's crazy. And he actually, so I told him how to do the neighbor letter. So he really didn't really need me, but I was supposed to fund the deal.
Yeah.
We split 97 grand, but I look back at a lot of these transactions that I've done. Most of them allowed a manufactured home. or a modular home of some sort. And then I looked at all the real estate that's selling mostly the quickest out there since 2020, and a lot of them have been moving quicker that had a manufactured home on it. So I was like,
Mhm.
you know, for years I've been watching these guys buy this land for me and placing manufactured homes and modular home, and they're making an absolute fortune. I've made money too. So recently, in the past couple years, I've started placing brand new manufactured homes on this land,
Okay.
and it's been a total game changer for me. A great book I recommend to anybody is "Who Moved My Cheese?" Who moved my cheese?
Mhm.
Where I used to be able to sell a land deal in a week, now it's taking me anywhere from 30 days to sometimes 3 months. Well, if I put a manufactured home on it, the whole process takes me 4 months,
Yeah.
and a more consistent, steady eddy flow. And now I take a $12,000 piece of land, I put a $60,000 manufactured home on it. Now it's worth 217,000. Now there's a few more steps
Yeah.
involved.
Of course.
I talk about it on my YouTube channel, but it's been absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm seeing profits anywhere. My average is 45K, $45,000 net profit per one of these I do. I've got 7 on my board I'm looking at right now that are active. I could probably do about 14 at one time with just by myself with,
Yeah.
no employees, but, that's kinda what I've turned it into.
Got you. So where are you doing most of your deals at? Are you nationwide, certain
Yeah,
locations? Talk to us about that.
worldwide. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so most of mine are in Florida right now, but I started in Colorado when I was stationed out there with the Army. The first one I ever did was in 2020. It was haphazard, but we still me and another Air Force officer actually split. I don't know why I keep having $97,000 net profit deals, but that was another 97K deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that number, but him and I split $97,000. I didn't even know what I was doing on placing these manufactured homes. But answer your questions: Colorado, Georgia, Tennessee, the Carolinas, and Florida. But the majority of mine right now are in Florida. And guys, if anybody's listening to this and like, I want to do what Brent's doing, go on my website. We can get you discount manufactured homes in Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia. But it's called sliceoflifehomes.com. But we also coach people how to do this now as well. Coach them how to buy
Gotcha.
the land, flip the land, make a profit. And then a lot of guys want to be builders, developers. So we show them how to place the manufactured homes on the land too.
Alright. So other than your website, sliceoflife.com, where can someone go to get connected with you, learn more about
Yeah.
you? Where should they go?
Sliceoflifehomes.com is where you can order a manufactured home from us at a discount because we go directly to the manufacturer. We're a virtual dealer, so we can pass a lot of the savings on to people. Obviously, we make a little bit of money if you order from us, but
Mhm.
to get in contact with me, the easiest way is hit me up on Facebook, Brent L. Bowers, or go to my website, thelandsharks.com, and schedule a call. I'd love to hear, what your real estate investing goals are. Maybe it's your entrepreneurship goals. Sometimes Jed helps me handle some of those calls if I get overwhelmed with scheduling. But yeah, I'd love to chat. We're
Good.
actually
Good.
got a guy that's in prison. We've had a couple guys do very well getting out of prison flipping land because, like, one of our, I don't want to say his name, but I actually ended up doing I did a podcast with him on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I'm a host on there. Maurice, I'd
Mhm.
love to have you, by the way.
Absolutely.
The
Let's do it.
Wholesaling Inc. podcast. But I interviewed him and he said, Brent, I couldn't even get a job at McDonald's, but I can go and buy a piece of land from someone and sell it and make a profit. And that kinda hit me. It's like, "Man, you can't even get a job at McDonald's after getting out of prison?" Like, we're not setting up people very well for society when they leave the penitentiary. So, that was moving to me, but, alls I'm getting at is, like, I'm working with a guy right now in prison, to build his business before he gets out. And luckily, his wife, she's a saint, hooked him up with us.
Gotcha. Wow. Wow. So before we go, Brent, kinda give us your one piece of advice to someone who's listening to this podcast that maybe wants to get an entrepreneur, maybe wants to start doing some of the things that you're doing. What is that thing you would tell them to do?
My advice, as I look at my bookshelves, I have so many books on there that are business, self-development, the Bible is sitting right on my I've got 3 books on my desk. The Bible, Stand Firm and Act Like Men and Video Authority by Alric. Um, be a reader. Readers are leaders, but don't just read, implement this stuff. You got to start reading right now 10 pages a day. I will admit, lately I haven't been reading a ton. I've just been busy in my business, busy with my three kids. But every morning I would get up out of bed early for at least an hour before any of the kids woke up just to read, read, read. I mean, some of the richest people in this country read.
Yes. Got you. Got you. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Hey, thank you, Brent, for joining us today on the VET S.O.S podcast. On behalf of VET S.O.S family, I'd like to thank you and everyone for joining us today. You can find VET S.O.S podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and all your social media platforms as well. And when you go on there, make sure you subscribe and follow VET S.O.S so you don't miss anything like this great interview we did today with Brent. And don't forget, remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S lifeline.